Today on the Relationship Renovation Podcast, we talk about this concept of differentiation. I can be me, you can be you, your feelings are okay, my feelings are okay.
Differentiation is holding on to yourself while staying in connection with your partner. If there is low differentiation and you're a partner that says, I'm just trying to do what you want me to do all the time, then I'm like, well, where do you end and I begin?
It seems simple, but as you'll hear, it's not the easiest thing to do. So check it out.
If we can just know that the tension is where the growth is, then we can get to a place of connection and loving understanding.
Hello, all, and welcome to the Relationship Renovation Podcast. I'm Tarah Kerwin.
And my name is EJ Kerwin. And today we are excited. We have a guest on it. You may have heard a couple weeks ago, she was in here with her partner, Erin. But we're here today with Leanne Rogers, and she is a therapist at our center. She's a LAC. She is also a former wedding planner, which is like a cool background to sort of, bring into the couples counseling world. She's doing a lot of great work right now with her clients around IFS. She's been doing a lot of training in internal family systems. But today we're going to talk to Leanne about differentiation, and we'll define that in a little bit. But welcome, Leanne.
Thank you.
So happy to have you here again.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, give us a little bit of your story, like as a therapist, like, and that transition, that's really interesting from being a wedding planner to somebody who got into being a couples family therapist.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would say I remember middle school, high school, the only thing that I really knew how to talk about and connect with people on was relationships. Like, I didn't know how to do small talk. I didn't know how to do like these other things, but I could always talk about relationships. And then, I got into wedding planning.
How did that happen? Like, how did you get into wedding planning?
Well, my sister got married. She had a destination wedding and in Mexico, and her wedding planner was from Dallas. And I was like, oh, that's a job? Like, that's a thing that, I could do. And so that's kind of where the seed got planted, and I had moved to Mexico after college. I was going to go for 1 year. I ended up staying for 6. And I just had it in my brain. I was like, wedding planning is going to be my end job. I'm going to do that when I retire, because it's so easy and not stressful or fast paced at all.
Which is interesting because you think of weddings as kind of stressful.
Oh, yeah, it was sarcasm.
She was being sarcastic. Way to attune, EJ. Way to attune. I knew that.
Yeah, no, it's just like, it's a very you need to have a lot of energy to do that job. And so, lots of things happened, but one day I just said, okay, this is the time. I'm going to do wedding planning now. And I started telling everyone in Mexico I was a wedding planner. And at some point, I got connected with a florist who needed a wedding planner for a wedding. And the owner of that hotel started sending me all his clients. And then I was a wedding planner.
What made you good? Like, why were you a good wedding planner?
I think that I have an engineering background. I have my brain is thinks in order and is logical and is very organized. So I think on that side, I always had everything, I could see all the pieces and how they fit together really easily. And also, I was a U.S. citizen American living in Mexico, and all of my client base was from the U.S. Yeah. And so I provided a sense of comfort and
good communication.
Yeah, they just felt trust in me. But then also nothing's that big of a deal. A problem comes, I just was my clients felt like I had it. They just trust, she's got it.
She's got us.
Yeah.
And now look at you. Yeah. You're a couples therapist.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it was I think, they always you're so calm. And I was maybe I just presented well.
I bet
No,
you,
because-
do you really bring that into your couples work too? Do you think that if couples feel like you got it, they can trust that you can handle their, their stuff?
I think so. I when couples would tell me that, like my wedding clients would tell me that, I don't know what it was that I did that for them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a sense of like doing that. But I think that energy translates. I think like I'm boundaried, I'm, confident. I feel like even if I don't know what I'm doing, that's okay.
Yeah.
And it was like, I've made big mistakes as wedding planner. I made big mistakes. Well, I don't know if I made big mistakes as a therapist, but probably,
Yeah.
but that's okay. 'Cause it's like, we're just human.
Yeah.
And I don't stress about that.
Well, you come from it as like more hopeful and trusting than imperfect and beating yourself up if you make a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so then before we get into this term that I'm so excited to talk about, how did you transition from wedding planner to couples therapist? And can I just say we're so grateful to have you on our team.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when I was in school, like I've just only known how to talk about relationships. And when I got into mine, my major one, I've had lots before that, but we started doing the work from the beginning, like we talked about in our last podcast. And so how did I move into being a therapist? I mean, I had that idea. Yeah, it was like a natural transition from a wedding planner to couples therapy. I was like, I actually tried to create like a premarital counseling thing. I don't know. I just feel like I really love understanding how relationships work and why and like what's happening inside. And, I remember being at the end of a third long-term relationship. And I looked inside, like there was this moment, I was like, I feel the exact same. I feel lost.
Yeah.
I feel lonely. I feel like I'm sitting right next to this person and I feel so far away.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened in every single relationship I ever had. Yeah. And I was like, all right, y'all, what's the common denominator here? All three of those guys were totally different people, very different like values, and some were good guys, some were not so good guys. Yeah. I felt the same at the end of all of them. I'm like, all right, y'all, it's me. What is it in me that I need to look at? What is it in me that I need to change? Because I'm creating this somehow.
I feel like this is such a good like segue into the term differentiation. I know I remember I was talking to you like a couple months ago. I'm like, Leanne, I would really love to have you on our podcast to talk about something that you love. She's like, I want to talk about differentiation. I'm like, you go.
So when Aaron and I first started dating, I was starting to think about maybe transitioning to couples therapy. And I read this book, Passionate Marriage by Dr. Schnark, David Schnark.
That's a good book, but a dense book. It's a hard one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he talks about differentiation in there. And I was like, oh, this is what I need and this is what I'm doing, because I lost myself in every relationship. Every single relationship.
How often do you hear that statement, right? I've lost myself in this relationship.
Yeah, we give up ourselves so quickly because we're so afraid of losing the other person. And so we just adjust ourselves to fit what either we think they want us to be or what they say they want us to be.
Exactly.
Or what we think we should be.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely some relation to like the other person, but it's like we just give up ourselves. And so I read that book. I had also done a lot of mindfulness practice when Aaron and I met. So I was really getting to know who I was. And so, I learned about differentiation in that moment. So it's just been like near and dear to my heart, throughout my relationship. And I keep finding myself really drawn to these theories or modalities that integrate a differentiation into how they teach it. So I did the developmental model training with Ellen Bader, and that's all on differentiation and growth. And IFS is also a differentiation model. And so,
Well, let's name it. Let's help these
what
people.
is it?
Yeah, what is differentiation like?
That maybe the simplest way to talk about differentiation is it is a sense of holding on to yourself while staying in connection with your partner. So I can allow you to have your emotional experience. I can have you to have your values, your opinions. And even if those opinions are about me, I can hold space for that without it. I mean, it's going to affect us, right? Like we're going to have some emotional response to it, but I can stay in connection with you. I can honor that that's your truth. Like that's real for you. And I want to provide a safe space for you to be able to share that. In order to do that, I have to stay steadfast in myself.
Yeah, it's an interesting, because it's like, I think visually, and it's just like, it's this healthy boundary. It's that you can be who you are. I can be who I am. I can be present for who you are. And I can handle it. There's like a space between that, right?
Yeah.
That there's something that I don't have to meld. I don't have to lose myself. I don't have to take everything personal. It's a you can be who you are. You can be who you are, and I can be who I am. And those two things have to continue to exist. You can't lose that, right?
Yeah.
But learning how to be that person, especially if you don't have like healthy role modeling of becoming yourself while growing up, right? Because you're accommodating to your family, whatever.
Yeah.
That's got to be really hard.
Yeah. I think on that note, this, just I'm looking at our little outline we have here, and another point you put in here, Leanne, which speaks to that, is being able to manage your own emotional reactions while listening to and digesting your partner's feelings, thoughts, and experiences. That in order for you to know that it's okay to be you, or your partner knows it's okay to be you, you have to be able to like sort of manage yourself.
Yeah.
Stay present for that other person. That's that.
Totally. And also to what Tara is saying is it's managing your own emotional contagion, but it does depend on like your there's an idea or theory out there that says an individual can differentiate as much as their family has differentiated without some internal work, right? Like if I'm just going about life without being introspective and looking within and going, okay, well, who am I? Who do I want to be? How can I grow? I'm going to differentiate as much as my family has.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us make that a little more concrete for our listeners? Like give us like a for instance, or like, you know.
For instance, might be, if you have parents who are pretty codependent on each other, right? Then you have like kind of a codependent family unit, right? You see mom and dad, maybe they're not in like a very happy, loving relationship, but they, can't go to the grocery store without one another, right? You're seeing that's a low differentiation, right? Like they need the other to exist. And so then that's where you would go to, right? We talk about all the time, we repeat our patterns. We repeat what we learn about love.
And we say, I'll never be like my mother. And then we're like, oh my God.
Yeah, you would expect then that like you're super tight with your partner, but you're only so emotionally really connected to them. And you might even think like that's absolutely like sort of normal. That's the way things should be.
Right. Yeah.
And naturally try to replicate that with your partner then.
Yeah. And I think where this kind of came up, where I was kind of bumping up against this need for growth with a lot of clients, is noticing clients who, got together at a really young age.
Yeah.
So clients that got together in their teens or early 20s, they just started the differentiation process.
Mm-hmm.
Like differentiation is a developmental stage for all humans to go through. But if you partner with somebody at that early age, you kind of just transfer your identity to the other person.
Right.
And you kind of miss that differentiation. I mean, you're still doing it. But yeah, there's a part that if you go at an early age, your identity just goes to the other person. You miss that stage.
So let's go, just because I love this term, and I studied it in graduate school because I loved Bowen, and that's when I knew like I wanted to do like couples work and family work. But so low differentiation means you're not very differentiated from your family of origin, right?
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
And then high differentiation means you are your own true self, regardless of like your parents' values, your people's values in life, that you are your own person and you're steadfast in that and you feel very grounded within that piece of it, and that you can still have these other connected relationships within your system, but you don't lose yourself with them. That would be highly differentiated, right?
Yeah, I think something like that. I think we have to pay attention to individuation and differentiation. Because individuation, is also part of the process, right? But differentiation is so much about being in connection that I can stay connected. I can stay connected with you, and I can take emotional risks with you
because I feel safe enough.
That's
to do that.
how we, work with. How do I differentiate? How do I even do that? And part of it is going, well, I'm going to show up. Can I tell you guys a little, I don't know if I said this in the podcast, but I remember, I'm sure I should share it. But I remember being with Aaron in the very beginning and having to psych myself up to go out there. And I was in the bathtub and I was like, I'm going to tell him this. And I come out and I sit down and I said, I really enjoy being with you. You guys, that was
like a big hurdle.
Hard for me.
Wow.
It was vulnerable.
Yeah.
It was a very vulnerable thing to do. But I said, I'm going to say this thing and I don't know what he's going to say back.
Yeah.
So that was an emotional risk.
Yeah.
Well, and would you say
yeah,
this is a little bit of a blend of the individuation and the differentiation. Was that truth, right? Because that's staying in connection with who you are was very different than what you grew up with. Did you see a lot of people taking those kind of emotional risks in relationship?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So that's what made it so risky, right?
Yeah.
You were
sharing
differentiating
my emotional and he could say any number of things, and so he could be like, oh, cool, or it's okay, but it's taking that risk is saying I'm going to reveal myself to you. Yeah. And just see what happens. And that's taking that step.
We just want to tell you all about something that we offer, which is the Relationship Renovation at Home program. It's basically the way in which we've worked with couples for years in our counseling center, but a way that you and your partner can do it at home.
It gives couples structure to build that emotional safety and the skills that we didn't learn, but that are so essential to learn in building a healthy relationship.
Yeah, there's lessons, there are videos. It's a real structured way for you and your partner to reconnect. So just go to our website. There's a tab on top, online programs, and you can download a free sample. You can check it out. We know it's made a significant difference in hundreds of couples' relationships. So please go check that out.
Okay, so let's tell me if it's okay to go there. So let's just say someone's listening to this. They're like, how do I know if I'm differentiated to the best of my ability? What does that even mean? Because the idea is to be this healthy, grounded self, even during difficult times with your partner, emotionally, when things are escalated, but that you're still, right, you're staying like on the ground and holding experience for both because you feel good. Like that's not what we see in couples, right? Couples come in because they are just, they're a wreck, right? So how do you, the process, right? Because it's an individual process for the sake of the couple. Like what are the first questions you start to ask to even get that sense of like where they're at during difficult moments with each other? And then how do you help them understand this idea and get more differentiated so that they feel like I can be me even when things are uncomfortable?
All of couples work is helping people tolerate the tension, right?
Yeah.
When we're different, when I have a different opinion than you, or when two people are different, there's tension. Yeah. And differentiation says, I can sit in this tension with you. I can tolerate this tension and come with empathy and curiosity about your experience without needing to take responsibility for it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, this is, wow, that's your experience. And so it's like, and I can bring you my stuff and not ask you to change. Right? Like I'm not coming and saying, you did this thing, it tripped my wire, you need to change that about you. It's coming and saying, my wire got tripped. I need you to know my experience about it.
Yeah.
How do you move individuals and couples to get to that point? Because, right?
Slowly.
Because when they come in, it's like, it has nothing to do with me. My partner needs to change.
Yeah.
Because what does that give you a window into? And then how do you help them become those holding spaces for each other? I mean, I'm thinking like if everyone was differentiated in that way, like our jobs wouldn't exist.
We would be able to tolerate.
No, we wouldn't be. Our jobs wouldn't exist. I would be holding space for each other.
Yeah, because
no.
I mean, the thing that comes up for me is like one of the things that drives people into couples counseling. One of the drives them in when they're really struggling is it's about needs, right? It's about like, I have the need for this, and it can be the need around parenting, or it can be a lot of times a need around intimacy, or the need to solve problems better, right?
To be attuned to.
And so then the beginning point that you're talking about is like, I have to be able to like hear what my partner's feeling, what they're thinking, without becoming reactive to it, and that's okay where they are. I don't need to change right immediately. I don't have to change their experience. I just at first have to be able to hear them.
And you know what else? You have to know what you feel.
Yeah.
You have to know what you think. You have to know what you value. You have to know yourself before you can reveal yourself. And so I think that is a lot of the work, is getting to know you. Like, what do you want? What are your values? Where did it come from? Is that yours? Do you want to hold on to that? Or do you want something different? Like, because we get given a lot of stuff. Right. And so we have to know what we want, who we are. And then like, you can share that with somebody.
Yeah.
And if you know it and it's different than your partner, then it can feel like an emotional risk to share that with them.
That's what I like about the way we've decided to work with couples is in our model, we start with, you can't help but start at the beginning with setting goals, which is oftentimes what are the problems, what brought you in. But then it's almost like we ask them to pause for a second. And then we go back and learn about them. They learn about themselves. They learn about each other. we gather all this information about like just how they got to this place together and then into their relationship timeline, everything. And then we sort of circle back then again to communicating about that thing they need to communicate to each other. But we have a lot better of understanding and getting to like that individuation, which leads to the differentiation of like, well, okay, is that because that's what you truly want or you truly need? Or is it because it's just what you sort of have instinctually, how you've instinctually adapted to survive?
Yeah. There's something I definitely want to share about the process in when does this become a thing? Because like in the developmental model, they've created these certain terms. So those are the ones I'm going to use. But when a relationship first begins, right, there's this like merging stage of like you're seeing you don't really see the red flags. You're just so in love. You've got the chemicals going.
Love it.
There's like symbiosis space. And that's what we think is love.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what we think a relationship should look and feel like. But we can let go of some of our stuff, who we are in that space.
For sure.
And after about 2 years of being together, the relationship then moves into differentiation. The partners start to try to reclaim themselves again, like returning to them. And when that happens, there is this struggle in the relationship. And you hear people say, we just want to get back to the way it used to be. And it's like, well, that was a chemical dump that we're not going to get back, right? But you can find a deeper love, a deeper connection by being vulnerable and revealing yourself to your partner, like the other parts of you, you know? That's why, we talk about like, oh, the thing that was endearing to you then becomes the most annoying thing, right?
Right.
But that differentiation starts later in the relationship. And that's when a lot lot of problems, the fighting starts. Because
confusion and all of it, because we don't know what it is.
You don't know that it's natural.
We just know the process feels tense and it sucks and it shouldn't be like that.
But it's also like the gateway to the most rich, deeply connected relationship you could ever get to. It's sustainable because then I can handle whatever the hell is going on for you.
Yeah.
I can hear it.
Yeah. Dr. Schnark says marriages or relationships are people growing machines. And I just love that because it's like, your partner is going to show you where you need to grow.
Partner is our greatest teacher. Be patient for the lessons.
That's exactly right. And that is differentiation. Everything that we do is like trying to help people hold space for themselves and their partner.
Okay, so why is it so difficult, and what are like the obstacles to it?
Like, which couples struggle? I'm like kind of looking at this next question. Which couples struggle the most and why?
Yeah, the couples that got together early in life, I think, struggle with this idea. Of course, anxious attachment. Avoidant attachment can look like differentiation. Yeah. So this is tricky.
I was good at mixing those two up.
Same. Well, I was good at thinking
I was here with two master manipulators.
Well, this is the thing. I thought I was differentiated when really I was just being avoidant.
Yeah, distant.
I used mindfulness to bypass the uncomfortable.
Carbon copy.
Yeah. And
you guys need to have your own podcast just on that right there. Okay, listeners, we will have that.
For sure. Because it's like, and it wasn't until I think, this moment of realizing I need Aaron.
Yeah.
That I realized I wasn't being as vulnerable with him as I could. I just started working on vulnerability like yesterday. So, yeah.
Well, I feel like too, you knew that you didn't want it to end in the same feeling you had with the previous relationships. Yeah. So you were compelled this time to do something different for you.
Right.
Because you kept seeing the same thing happen over and over with very different people.
Right.
I mean, the opening for me was that I wanted Tara to be happy no matter what, no matter whether it was me or not. Then it allowed me then to be present for her things that made me uncomfortable much better than I had ever been. I'm much better at like differentiating, even if you are upset, even if you are mad, even if you are hurting, even if you are disappointed, I can handle that. Instead of being like, stop that. That is really freaking uncomfortable. It makes me feel shitty about myself.
Even your eyes
so
when you do that are like,
stop it.
Right. That's being comfortably uncomfortable.
Which then leads into just like a very basic thing that makes it incredibly difficult to be present for each other in this differentiation is just activation. Is once you're activated and being aware of your own activation, I'm out of my window of tolerance. That by definition is like, I don't feel safe for you being who you are. So then why would my partner feel comfortable being who they are?
I just had to share something really quick. This is like, this was just like a big win for me last week. And it reminds me that I continue to become more differentiated as I'm doing IFS work right now. So there's this one person in my life that I normally have so much anxiety talking to, like literally my heart would race. I would clam up, I would freeze, and I would avoid it like the plague. And I had to have a conversation with this man over the phone last week. Totally calm, owned my own stuff. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's him. This is me. And I like didn't even think about it as a win until I went into my, therapy session. I was like, and normally I was just I'm like, it's actually working.
Yeah.
Like it is not my responsibility to be whatever he needs me to be. It's so huge, you guys. It's like,
huge. Oh, that's right. Well, that's exactly like what EJ is saying is like, I just want Tara to be happy.
Yeah.
And it's like you could hold her truth and your truth at the same time. Right? Mm-hmm. It's like she deserves happiness. That's real for her. And you're saying, and I'll have my own experience of like, no matter what that looks like. Yeah. Right. And that's, and not going, how do I fix your upsetness? How do I mold myself into the person you need me to be? Yes. It's like, no, like.
I know. And so many people are well-intentionally, and that's the thing. Like, I just want to make her happy, or I don't want to see her suffer. Yeah. But like, just know that well-intention is like, that is you guys missing the mark on each other that leads to the more disconnection and not being seen.
Yeah. I have this moment with Aaron that comes up, I remember a lot because you know how like teenagers need boundaries, right? Teenagers need boundaries because they need something to bump up against to know where they end or where their parent ends and they begin, right? Where do you end, where I begin?
Yeah.
And so as parents, we have to hold that boundary for them so that they can differentiate, when we stay in loving connection with them.
Totally.
Ideally. That's very hard. But it's the same thing in a partnership. Right? If there is low differentiation and you're a partner that says, I'm just trying to do what you want me to do all the time, then I'm like, well, where do you end and I begin?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, where are you? And so I told Aaron at one point, I said, I need you to fight me in a sense. I'm like, don't let me get away with being mean.
Yeah.
I was like, and he's like, okay. I was like, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take it well, right? I need practice at bumping up against you.
Yeah.
And I have a low shame tolerance. Right. And so I would feel shame and then, defend it, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, but I created a safe play. I was like, I'm giving you permission, right, to bounce, to stand up for yourself, right? And it's still hard to do that, but I think that if we can just know that the tension is where the growth is, then we can get to a place of connection and loving understanding.
I think like the because we always want to give people like, okay, where's the action? Like, what is the thing you can do? And one thing you laid out was And what you're talking about right there is you're saying like, we want to take emotional risks with our partner, right? But a big thing that Tara's talked oftentimes about, and I think that we do as therapists, as coaches, whatever, is that we have to create a safe space, a container for taking emotional risks by saying fight back. You're saying like, I need you to fight back. Tara was like, we need to create a safe space where you stay present, where you share your feelings, even if they might lead to conflict.
Yes.
And that's what the therapeutic space, that's what it creates, is like, okay, here you go. Every week we're coming together and you can take emotional risks. And maybe somebody needs to be taught like, how do I take an emotional risk? How do I stay present? How do I speak from my heart? What are my needs? What is reflective speech? And like listening, not correcting, is that we have to create a space that's safe, and we have to step outside of our comfort zone, which is interesting. Like that is like the recipe for growth as well, right? Is that we're in a safe place and we step just past where our limit is. That's where we grow. And that's what we want couples to do.
But can I just say, how cool is it? Like in your intimate relationship, you get to grow into like the strongest, most powerful version of you that you never got to in any other relationship before.
Yeah.
If you're willing to go through it. I know it's not easy work. Yeah. It's like difficult to be uncomfortable. We're like, no, we're good.
Yeah. We're always trying to find those first year.
We're like, stay away from discomfort.
Yeah.
But that's not where deep, intimate relationships are. It's because we're comfortable with the uncomfortable. And I really want to see you grow, and I want to see you grow with me. So what's in my best interest too is to stay true to who I am, and also let you know, like, you have permission to take emotional risks with me, and I have a permission to take emotional risks with you.
Yeah.
That you can handle it.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I have a question too. What if one person in the relationship like really wants to do this work and really, and the other person just, it's too scary, they can't, like, what do you notice? How do you?
Well, I'd say, what we know about systems is if you change one part of the system's going to change.
Yeah.
For better or worse, like something's going to change. And so when you know yourself and you get really clear on your values and your boundaries, right? And you learn what it looks like to hold a boundary, because a boundary says, this is what I'm going to do if this happens.
Yeah.
And so, if your partner likes to blame you for, hurting their feelings, which, we can acknowledge that, we sometimes misstep, right? But it's okay if I fold the towels this way. It's okay if I parent this way.
Yeah.
It's okay if, I do certain things, and you stand in that. You say, it's okay. I hear you. You can be upset. I don't have to take that on.
That's the key component, that when your partner's not signed up for the work, but you decide I'm going to do this work anyway, is that you can become more tolerant of your partner's
lack of differentiation,
displeasure, and their lack of differentiation. Yeah. And then if all of a sudden you're not reacting as much, but you might also be having some different boundaries and you're holding them in really healthy ways, this other person is going to be forced into changing one way or another. That's where it gets unpredictable, though.
Right.
Because they might see something in you where they're like, man, I want a piece of that. Like, I'm going to jump into this whole game as well. Or it might be that they're stunted. And then for you, it's like, okay, how am I going to hold this boundary? Am I going to be able to stick around if my partner just isn't willing to change?
Yeah, absolutely.
But can we do an example? Oh, go ahead.
You said if my partner isn't willing to change, and I want to say maybe isn't willing to grow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, right? I like that.
Because
I like that too.
I think we have to be careful like requesting to change, right?
Change means you have to be different.
Because it's like,
Thank you.
I'm not bringing this to you because you have to change. I'm bringing this to you so you know my experience, and then you can consider, think about, ask questions, and understand that is that something that you want to change about yourself or shift?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can, but this is my experience. This is my boundary.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's such a good clarification and reframe.
So let's give people a little bit of okay, here's the gold at the end of here's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, right? Couples who engage in this, it's obviously not something it's not a light switch. It's something you work on for a while or forever. What does it look like? What does it begin to look like when you're putting this work in on a consistent basis with your partner?
The word that came up for me was authentic. Right? It's genuine. You feel like you're able to be you. You're able to reveal yourself. And it feels, ideally it's safe, but that you're okay taking the risk, right? I'm not sure if that's the, golden nugget because, this is I think it's a slow process. I don't think it's an idea to be growing into, but knowing yourself, doing that introspection, knowing what it is that you want to communicate in a clear, kind, open way. And even if it's hurtful, even if it's not a nice thing to say, we can still be kind, right? Open, kind, clear communication about what's happening for me. And just, I don't know. Did that answer?
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I think it's it creates more openness.
Yeah.
Even if the openness is to say something that's really difficult to hear and or say. I feel like what I'm experiencing with us in moving in this road together is we're just more resilient to difficult moments. Is the difficult moments are still there, I'm thinking of we had this kind of rough moment at the beach about a month ago, and it was very similar to what we've struggled with over the years, but in 45 minutes or so, it was over. Whereas it would have gone on a lot longer and there wouldn't have been resolution. It's just I'm resilient to your truth. I feel like you're more resilient to my truth. We're more receptive and accepting of each other. Mm-hmm. There will still be differences between us. And that's kind of part of it. That's at the baseline. That's okay.
A lot of couples we see have lost attraction for each other.
Mm-hmm.
They either don't find the other person attractive anymore. Their intimacy in many areas has gone down. And I do think that that's a function of not being able to be yourself in a relationship that really doesn't have to do with physical appearance at all, but that chipping away of not being able to be your authentic self.
Letting go of yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Because if I say I'm not able to be myself, it sounds like you're not letting me be myself.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm forgetting myself. Yeah. And so then I forget my desire. I give up these parts of me.
Yeah. And it's your fault. So it must be there's no way because other people will make me feel.
You're not being
That's
who
going
I
to be another
be.
podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Just put that in the back of your
mind. Well, this was great. I mean, sometimes these concepts are we can get lost in defining them or whatever, but I feel like we did a really good job today of making it sort of practical, that it is about differentiation is about I can be me, you can be you. I can preserve that and still hear difficult things. We can talk about difficult things. You can feel strongly about something. I can feel strongly about it. And it doesn't have to be doesn't have to be an existential risk to our relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it can actually bring us closer together.
Yeah. I could have thought of it. I can be me, you can be you, and we're okay.
And we're okay.
I'm okay, you're okay. We're different. Yeah. I see it differently. Yeah. You see it differently. There's some tension there. Yeah. That's hard for you to be different from me. Yeah. And then it's well, what are you afraid of? I'm afraid you're going to leave if we're different. I'm not going to leave. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we can be different.
Such a sense of empowerment for the individual and for the system and for the couple.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Leanne. It's always super fun. Leanne
Thank you
does
for the work you do.
incredible work
Yeah.
at our center. Like it's
Now she's
it's
gonna get
always
on a
fun
wait
to
list.
talk with you just about the work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just cool to have like minds working on the same thing, which is helping people be happier and more connected.
And we'll get some recommendations, like whether it's books or for listeners, if they want to find out more about this topic, we'll put those all in the show notes to give you guys some steps that you can take, even if it's like a book at home you want to read.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I think it's taken me, 10 years to wrap my brain around what is differentiation. And I feel like I'm just starting to understand it. So, it's so cool.
Because we cut off so many parts of ourselves to be okay in many different areas. And then we don't pay attention to the.
And unknowingly cut off our partner from being who they are too.
For sure.
No, we don't mean to do it. It's not on purpose.
Yeah, we're just trying to human,
Yeah. So if this is a podcast that you've really enjoyed, you love the topic, you found something really stimulating about it, please just share it with somebody. Tell them about the episode. Send them it as an attachment in a text. If you have more questions, things you want to know more about, please just reach out. Send us an email. Reach out to us via our Instagram or whatever. Thank you for being a part of our community. We appreciate you all listening.
Thank you, Leanne, for being your rock star therapist self. Thank you, EJ, for just being you and letting me grow. And as always, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, Relationship Renovation listeners. Just wanted to say thank you so much for listening, for all of the awesome reviews, the comments, the feedback on our YouTube channel. We're just so grateful. We offer these podcasts free of charge. If you do want to make a donation, that's always super helpful, and you can do it in our show notes. Thanks again for listening. We're very, very grateful.